Good morning, viewers who are watching. This is the next vlog of my kind of higher effort vlogging, where there'll be a teaser again, like there was on the last one. Let me know what you thought of that. Anyway, this morning I'm going to do a slightly different vlog, I reckon. I'm trying to get the sun from, there we go, now you won't be blinded. I'm going to do a vlog more of like a day in the life, but it's going to start with the bike ride because I could have had the opportunity to have a very slow start this morning, but nope, I was awake before 7. So I've decided I'm going to do a long bike ride to work. So I'm going to go around the back lanes, go up to the top of the biggest hill in the area, and then drop down into work, and then show you a little bit of what my working life is like. I need to get all the stuff out of the back of the car though, because my e-bike is on the bottom and none of this stuff has come out since the last vlog at FOD, because I came back and had that injection in my ankle, if you remember. So I'm going to give you a little update of that, but also I haven't touched any of this stuff because I couldn't ride my bike. That one done, bike all back together. Didn't lose much pressure out of the fork, but there was a lot of pressure out the shock, which I expected, of course. So I'll just show you whilst I'm putting my shoes on. So basically, where they injected, which lucky did do some local anaesthetic, was this little mark just there. It went right into the ankle joint and injected the steroid in there so I had that on the Thursday afternoon. It was perfect on the Thursday. Then Friday, Saturday, my leg went really tight. So I didn't have any pain in the ankle itself, but all the muscles in my leg went mega tight. Sunday, woke up, no pain. But I did have a sore Achilles on the other leg, because I guess it's suddenly going, oh, we don't have to work so hard. Monday morning, no, it felt really good. Did 2 half-an-hour walks yesterday. Today is Tuesday, so this is the first time I've been on the bike since. This little route, it's away from all the main road and loads of the big bulk of the traffic, although you do have to watch the odd electric car that drives around very quickly but pretty quietly compared to a normal car. And on a day like this, you can pretend that towns haven't invaded our countryside too much, when of course they can, but that's a whole another topic. Anyone else really hate going fast down a road? I don't know how well this audio will be, because I've said about 10 times that I need to put a new wind muff on the top of this camera, but I haven't, and there's quite a breeze going down here, and I could go a hell of a lot faster, but I'm not going to, because I'm always scared about having to brake hard on this stuff. Whether I hit like a pothole or a stick or something, or a car comes the other way. Comes to the first interest point. It is a tricky Fyro climb. It's tricky because in the winter it becomes a river. Obviously it's not a river now, because it's most definitely not winter. Look at how brown all the grass is, and unless you've been living under a rock in the UK, you probably know that we're in this heat wave and everything is hot and dry, and the southwest is very wet and damp in the winter, although according to Southwest Water it didn't rain. I can tell you it did, because there was times I didn't ride this winter because it was that bad. Anyway, it is really dry, so there's obviously not going to be any water on it now, but it is heavily eroded, and because it's always in the shade, it's got lots of green slimy mossy stuff, so it can be quite tricky. That's what we're going to do now. First off, it's a fine balance with where I have the seat, and secondly, I have decided that actually the EMTB Plus doesn't help me because it spins. So when it's like really dry and dusty and I'm getting a bit of a wobble on, as you can see, I'm like completely wobbling all the time, it actually spins me the back wheel, and it means I can't actually get up. So wow, yes, as I said, very difficult. Probably doesn't even look hard on this video. This is basically a river the whole time, and then you've got bits like this, look, where it's broken, and it's difficult to tell which are the broken bits and which are stuck in the ground, which I actually think that it's got harder since it's got drier actually. So when I said it's harder in the winter, I'm not sure it is, because there's been sort of autumnal and spring times when I've done this, and it's been grippier whereas I think the massive level of just total dust where the ground is just moving underneath the tyres is actually making it harder. And now I've stopped to look at it, I don't realise how many of these rocks are just loose everywhere, and that explains why the last couple of times I've come up it's been really difficult to get back on. Okay, and go. Okay, so to the right of me there is all green, so that's all the mossy stuff that I said about that's everywhere, and it can get easier from here in terms of there's less rubble to slide around, but it's polished rock up here, so it's like got that low level of dusty stuff, and then you've got the green stuff, and as you can see maybe it's actually got a bit wet here, so there's still water that comes down which makes that green stuff and little bits of layered of mud as well, so you can't really switch off at all on this climb, which is why I think I have only successfully got all the way up it maybe once, and no, maybe twice. I've done it twice. Once I got up it the first time it was slow, and the second time I did it, which were not back-to-back times, I think I got Queen of the Mountain on. The next section is like an assault course, you get to get through all the like rocky loose bits again, see that? And you have to avoid being scratched and tangled in the hedge until we get to this next bit. Ow! And now we're fighting, so we've got to stay in the rut, but also not be dragged off. I have before actually had a bramble slice into my face that nearly pulled me off the bike because it was that aggressive, and it obviously cut my face. Okay, nearly there. Now this little bit here, you think, oh, you're here, but there's one lumpy bit there you got to get through, and it's a rut, and if you get off balance, that will tip you to the side. Now on Codden Hill, we made it. Didn't get hit by any cars. There's a couple of people that passed a little bit too close, and had they been about 10 seconds more patient, I could have pulled in for them, but there we are. The climb up here is all right on either bike, to be honest. Obviously just go slower on a normal bike, but what you have to avoid is poo. There's like, I don't mind horse poo, but there's dog poo everywhere left up here, and that's quite annoying. I think that we will avoid these tracks at the moment, because that looks even worse than the last time I came down here, and I literally got like, well, it wasn't just scratched, it was actually grabbing my pedals and all sorts of stuff, so I don't think we'll worry about that. My friend Noah, who I used to ride with, he used to spend most of his summers up here trail building and maintaining, and he sort of lost the love for it as teenagers do, so he was doing a lot of the maintenance, which I was going to kind of do with him, and then obviously now that's not happened, and the more natural stuff, of which there are 3 here, one just over there, one there, and there's one a little bit further up, they will be pretty much unrideable until you're at the bottom section now, just because of all the ferns, but you can't get to the bottom section without having actually gone through the top section. There's no entry point lower down. So then to see if they were purposely left high up at the beginning to kind of hide the trails, although they're well established trails, so you wouldn't really need to hide them, but I did walk down and they're definitely not hidden on purpose. They are really overgrown, so we'll come back to them in the winter time. Then we will head up to the main point of the hill, and I'll do a bit of filming at the top to show you where the area actually is. That way we've got a big transmitter. I don't know whether the camera actually picked that up. So over that way is Dartmoor. Over that way is the closest part of the coast, so Saunton, and then the big hill to the side, that's Baggy Point. Then we come across to our latest wind farm that kind of runs along parallel with the estuary into the main bit of the town, and then pan along here, and over behind me is where Exmoor is. So we are sat in between two lots of moorland really, which is quite nice, but it takes a long time to get to either of them because as the crow flies it's not far, as the roads go it is very far. We're going to go down the main bit of the hill and go into the first sort of bit of the trail. There's not many walkers up, but we'll still be careful because although we all well, I say we all, a lot of us would know that that's a bike trail, you will have people that don't know. So super windy. Okay, so this is the first start of it. So this is the bit that I'd also usually pedal up as well. So you get to the bottom and then you pedal up it. And then this is the part where there are two trails. So we'll do this one first. Wow. Yeah, this is, see, look. This is going to be really, really scratchy. And what's absolutely dodgy is that in through here, right, that is one trail down there with some really nice loamy corners. But as you can see, it doesn't even look like there's a trail there right now. And down here is another really well-ridden main trail. Again, it doesn't look like it is a trail. That's definitely less ridden, so we won't even bother with that. We'll try this one, but I have to be really careful because down here is a rut and it's actually very narrow. So the right of me is just a drop down. Like you'll just roll all the way down the bank down here. And this is quite a slippery, narrow rut, which is far more helpful if you can actually see it. Luckily, I've been down here enough times to know where it is, so kind of got away with that. Be careful of building and unbuilding. So we'll just take it nice and carefully. Because it's been the summer holidays as well. More building might have happened. Thank you. And there we go. That's another thing, is that although the bike trails are really well known, you will always get people walking on them, and it's probably those sort of walkers that come and destroy the tracks. This is such a shame. So this used to be a really nice wooden sort of drop kicker thing, and it could be moved around. So they'd fix it here, which is a really good place because you come along this bit and then you'd come off that, and then that would be a nice downslope landing there, and you'd whiz across the road up and round the corner. Really, really nice trail, but that's, well, smashed to smithereens. And whether the kids did that or whether the walkers did that, I don't know, but it looks like nobody's ridden it for quite a long time because you've got a stick there with quite a bit of fungus growth, and you'd think if it was actually being ridden there'd be far less leaves and debris on here. And also you're just not going to come through that bit, are you? Because you're going to see that bit there and go, well, that's now not passable. Without that wooden feature, it's not really worth riding. But it made it really good from that simple thing. And then over here, this was good. This was a nice kicker, and they moved things about for that. But again, it looks like it's just been taken down and just left with the little kicker that they made out of the mud, which is all right. I know I didn't hit it with any speed because, well, I wanted to make sure there wasn't any massive changes that I couldn't avoid. But again, it was well built and they had a nice run in and a good downslope, so it wasn't dangerous. I'm disappointed that what was a really fun spot's kind of disappeared. So this is the original sort of trail. You can still ride that and it's all right, but it's not the sessioning spot that it was this time last year. So the only things that have really been left are the two wooden drop kicker things that are at the start of the trail, and that's it. So there isn't much else now. It's such a shame because in the area it is the only place in Barnstable that kids could actually pedal to ride, and the landowners themselves are happy with the trails staying down here, but it's people walking, they're the ones that have decided that those trails can't stay there anymore, which is a real shame for kids, and probably why I haven't seen any kids up here. And the whole little community of trail builders that there were this time last year have gone, and that will be because everything they keep doing has been taken down, which is a shame. Also, for selfish reasons, the little plan I had of a loop which incorporated this is pretty much out the window as well, because I can still ride up to the top and ride down the wide open bits and those other trails, the more natural stuff, when the dieback happens in a month or so. But I kind of had plans to go from here and cycle further out to a place called Arlington Court. It's quite a big ride, really big ride. I was going to do it on the e-bike, but it would mean the majority of the ride would actually end up being on road rather than doing a little bit of sessioning in here. And my little evenings when I come up and do a session, yeah, that isn't going to happen. Again, the same principle as the kids. What's the point of me trying to get together with a group of people to build if we're constantly going to have the same things happen where they take trail features out? Through the village of Bishop's Taunton, lovely little village, terrible parking, and I didn't have my camera on, which I kind of wish I did, because there was two people that were incredibly impatient that wanted to overtake, and they drove straight into oncoming traffic. Leg of the journey, you could see this bridge and stuff from Codden Hill, and Codden Hill is just over there. So we've kind of done a loop round through the other side of town. This is like not so interesting riding really. It's just the commuter track. It's called the Tarka Trail, and it runs all the way through the southwest, or at least North Devon part of it. Put the bike into eco, so I'm at least getting some pedalling benefits, because obviously I'm not going up and down the hill lapping like I thought I was going to do. I do have hope for the natural stuff, so that will be good, and I will definitely be going back there and doing a bit of clearing when the heat's died down a little bit. Loads of bird activity, seagulls everywhere, crows, main bulk of the estuary. Gets a little bit more interesting again as we go down. It gets way more interesting. So now you've got the whole bulk of the estuary over there. Across the water is Fremington Quay. So the other side is another decommissioned rail track like this is. And that runs all the way from the other side of the estuary out. Then we have got a legitimate shipwreck that is waiting to be removed. How they're going to remove it, I don't actually know, because they're going to have to. There was a sign that said it was going to go on the 30th of June, but I'm guessing the tide times weren't right, because the only way I can see that you can get this boat out, which has been here for 18 months, is by pulling it out with another boat. But presumably the tide times would have to be right for that, because there's no way you get it out otherwise, because there is just a massive load of sandbank. What I meant to say was, if you like birds, you'll see tons of them down here. Oyster catchers, all sorts of different types of gulls. I've actually seen a seal down here before. People live in their boats down here as well, and I've seen a seal out there. You get tons of fish, especially when it's warm and sunny like this in the water, and the tide, in high tide, will come all the way up to this bank as well, which is pretty cool to see if you're brave enough to go out in the high winds that usually comes with that. And this is the bit where we go onto the estate where I work. The sign blown off. Yeah, there's been a bit of a wind tunnel, to be fair, actually. Waterside coffee house there. Their tables, outside space, and then we are actually on a legitimate industrial estate, so you do have to be careful cycling around here. There's big lorries and stuff coming through as well. But here we are. So this is where I work. So Fortis Performance is the gym, and then Dexter's Printing is obviously, well, self-explanatory. It's the printing, specifically clothing printing. This is the gym. So it's called Fortis Performance. I've had to put the word gym after it so that Google can find it, otherwise it gets really confused. There's no music on at the moment because I've turned it off because of copyright stuff, but normally there'd be music. And then this is the second part of the gym with the more resistance machines, showers, toilets, stuff. And this is Sebastian, my friend and client, who is about to do a leg session with me, aren't you?
Hey.
Then upstairs is the sort of printing and the office. We got official fire extinguishers, stock. Oh, you can see without turning the lights on, that's good. And then all the printy stuff in here, so the heat presses and then the real printing machine type things. Definitely contribute some of the less serious injuries to myself in bike crashes or nearly bike crashes to actually training in the gym. Things like squats, and yeah, you can use the leg press. Squatting's better unless you've got an injury. Each have their place, but I prefer free weights, deadlifts, leg machines. Obviously I haven't been doing that many of those sorts of exercises recently because of my ankle, but plenty of upper body training, so lat pull downs to pull ups to lots of chest related things, definitely chest press, etc. Just because those are the main things that are going to stop you from being propelled off the bike when you have a little bit of a misdemeanor in your landing. Because let's face it, we make mistakes a lot when we're riding. I make a lot of mistakes when I'm riding, but I definitely get away with it because I'm strong. Got my work Crocs though. I love Crocs because there's loads of novelty things you can put in them. So I've got work Crocs, I've also got home Crocs, and I've got boat Crocs. So wherever I go, I've got a pair of Crocs, which is incredibly pleasing. Excuse the cleaning company next door that have come to have their washing taken away to industrially be washed. So if you can hear scraping noises, that's what it is. Every workout session should start with a warm up, and I definitely need to be warming up because I had a blood test the other day, and all this here on my arm is bruising where she stabbed the needle into my arm, and I was like, I'm sure I felt that going into my bicep, and it actually did, and that's why there's bruising.
Did you wait too long? Tell him that you love him, but he's already gone, darling. Did you make two wrongs? Know that daddy never made a right before, darling. You were never made to be the judge, darling. You never changed, just wait for me to budge, darling. It's feeling like a cold dark winter and the sun's still behind the trees, yeah. She asked me if I had another minute and I ain't had the heart to leave, yeah. It's feeling like a cold dark winter and the sun's still behind the trees, yeah. She asked me if I had another minute and I ain't had the heart to leave. One day I'll be everything you ever wanted. Until then I'll be out here fighting like it's nothing. Through the cold dark winter. Or did you say goodbye, knowing damn well everybody gon' die someday? Did you waste my time, knowing damn well we can press rewind? One day I'll be everything you ever wanted. Until then I'll be out here fighting like it's nothing. Through the cold dark winter, it's feeling like a cold dark winter.
Boring work-related tasks over. I haven't shown you those ones. Also, gym session is over. I do a lot of work from home, so I'm now going to ride back home. I have got a meeting to do, which will last about half an hour on Zoom, and then a couple more work-related bits for the gym and for the printing. And then I'm going to do some filming for some more reels and probably edit this vlog as well, I'm not sure.